Hello guys and gals and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be going over a unique item for the Druid, which is a helmet known as Tempest Roar. Tempest Roar is a special unique helmet that is geared more toward werewolves. It drops obviously in World Tier 3 and World Tier 4 and can roll as Sacred or Ancestral. The Tempest Roar has 12.8% damage to Shapeshifted, which does roll between 10.5 and 21. It's got 29.2% critical strike damage, which rolls between 21 and 31.5. Gives maximum Spirit, which rolls between 15 and 27. And it does also offer poison resistance, which is kind of useless right now, but hopefully they fix it eventually, between 34.4 and 59.8. Now, the special ability on this particular helmet is the fact that it has Lucky Hit. Storm skills have up to a 21% chance, or 21% chance is what I have, but it rolls between 15 to 25%, and it will grant you 4 Spirit, which is actually kind of nice. It also has your base storm skills are now also werewolf skills. Now, to exemplify this, you can clearly see this on the skill board. So when you hold your mouse over a skill, it tells you what it is. See, this is werebear, weight, shapeshifting, basic. This is basic storm. Nature magic, but it also is werewolf and shapeshifting because I currently have the helmet on. If I take the helmet off, notice that the shapeshifting and the werewolf disappeared. This is because you need this to actually obtain this special effect. Now, what does this actually do? Well, because I'm using Mad Wolf's Glee, you can see this to more dramatic effect. So with Mad Wolf's Glee, I am a werewolf all the time, right? But whenever I use Storm Strike, you notice I'm just going to immediately de-transform into a human. Alright, this means that I no longer am a werewolf, and I'm no longer getting the special werewolf bonuses, which is unfortunate. If I put the helmet on, however, now my storm skill is going to be a werewolf skill. And as you can see, I'm no longer de-transforming while utilizing the ability, which is definitely very nice. This means that I get to maintain things like my werewolf damage reduction while shapeshifted, werewolf armor, and other werewolf effects. And also, any passives that I might have, like, for instance, like Toxic Claws and things like that, where you get, like, critical strikes with werewolf skills will poison enemies and so forth and so on, is going to apply to this ability as well. So, it's actually pretty nice. There's also some other ways you can enhance Storm Strike even further with things like the I think it's the Staff of the Crone, which is rather interesting. Has some nice buffs that you can add to Storm Strike, but it's not just Storm Strike. You can also utilize Wind Shear, becomes a werewolf skill as well, and it's only these 2 skills. Now, honestly, I think it's amazing because you can utilize Storm Strike as your basic, which is actually a pretty powerful melee ability. Number 1, it offers you 25% damage reduction for 3 seconds, which is absolutely great. Number 2, it offers the ability for immobilization to happen, a 15% chance to immobilize all enemies hit for 2.5 seconds, which is, again, absolutely great, especially depending on what kind of build you're running, because Immobilize is very powerful within the Druid tree. On top of that, we also have Storm Strike can chain to 2 additional targets. This one right here is amazing if you're utilizing the Toxic Claws, because basically it just automatically poisons pretty much everything that it chains to, which is really freaking cool. So you get, like a bunch of additional poisonings going on for hitting multiple targets. Another very nice one that you can do is the Vulnerable. So you can do the Fierce Storm Strike, which is a 50% chance to make enemies vulnerable for 3 seconds. And this allows you to add almost a permanent uptime of vulnerability on monsters that you're fighting, which is pretty great. So between these two, you're going to have a tough choice. And if you have a permanent vulnerability option already, you may not need this. But if you don't, this is going to be like one of your key vulnerability options. And vulnerability kind of should be worked into just about every build because it's extremely powerful in this game. So take that into account as you're thinking about which one of these to do. Now, this particular helmet also offers that chance to regenerate spirit, which is actually pretty nice. And it goes off often enough. So storm skills have a 21% chance to generate more spirit. So your Storm Strike, which only generates 14 spirit per hit, can actually generate even more spirit because of this helmet. So not only is it allowing you to utilize a storm skill as a werewolf that you would otherwise not be able to use, you're also getting some other interesting effects going along with it. Now, personally, I was using claws up until this point, specifically with the poisoning effect, which was nice. But being able to poison 2 additional targets instead of 1 is certainly not a terrible thing. I think this helmet is a pretty powerful one. It's one of the better uniques that I've found so far within the game. And although it does have 1 wasted stat with the poison resistance, overall, it's a very nice item. I'm not exactly 100% sure about the maximum spirit, though. Like, some classes, like the Necromancer, the Barbarian, and whatnot, usually have, like, an item or a skill or a passive or something that gives them more damage, like the higher the essence or the, you know, the resource cost is. And I don't really know if there's anything like that on the Druid tree similarly. So having a huge amount of increased essence, or spirit in this case, I don't think really is a huge benefit to the werewolf. So I'm not entirely sure. But I guess just having larger reserves certainly doesn't hurt, especially if you have chances to restore more spirit from the actual skill. For that lucky hit, though, we have to run the calculation real quick. So let's just run our calculation. So it says from storm skills, so this is important. So it's only storm skills, which means it's only going to be the storm skill that you're using. So if we take a look at the storm skill says it has a lucky hit of 27% chance. So 27% lucky hit on Storm Strike specifically. So we can take that and represent that as a decimal, which is 0.27. It's really easy. You just move the decimal point over 2 spaces. And then we need to also take a look at the lucky hit on the helmet. So mine is 21%, but 25% is a cap, so let's roll it as 25, which is going to be times 0.25, which is the percentage on the helmet, which is going to get us about a 6.7% chance to roll this. Then you also have to add in your lucky hit percentage, which is usually way down at the bottom of one of these calculations. I currently have a lucky hit bonus of 9.3. So you're going to represent that as a fraction. So you're going to multiply 1 point, and then you're going to add in the percentage. So 9.3 is actually going to be 0.93, which is going to get us a total hit percentage of getting that extra 4 spirit of 7.3% per hit. Which isn't like super ridiculous. You could maybe upgrade that to 7.4 if we rounded that up from the 7, which, yeah, probably would round up. But 7.4% isn't like the most amazing to get that spirit back. It's not going to be something you're going to be able to rely on overly well. And it's only going to happen when you're using the Storm Strike ability, so also keep that in mind. Overall, I think it's a really nice unique. I literally equipped it to my werewolf as soon as I got it and switched over from Claw to Storm Strike. And it's mainly because of that 25% damage reduction, which I really do like. So every single time I'm using Storm Strike, my werewolf is a little tankier, a little harder to kill. I really do like these additional to 2 targets as well. And I also like, honestly, just the fact that at any time, if I feel like I'm not causing enough vulnerability to a target, like for instance in PvP where the monsters don't want to stand in my ravens, I can switch over to this and still apply vulnerability with almost 100% uptime, which is really nice. The other good thing is that it's a 50% chance. So, you know, like it doesn't really take a lot of hits before everything nearby is vulnerable, which is really nice. It really depends on how your character is built, if you have 100% vulnerability uptime, and if you don't. I know I'm repeating myself at this point, so probably a good time to end the video. It does have a flavor text on it, so let's read the flavor text real quick. It says, "Listen, child, to the music of the storm. It has its own rhythm, its own melody. Hear how beautifully it sings, and perhaps one day you will be able to join in its harmony." So, it's really kind of a cool helmet. I believe the graphic... Let's see if we can take a look at the graphic real quick on the helmet, because it does, I think, have a unique graphic. I think it's that really crazy one that has, like, the... Yeah, it's got, like, the horns, and then, like, the mask, and then, like, it's got, like, the paint on it, and can't even see the person's face anymore. Just looks kind of crazy, honestly. Like a freaking weird hood. Oh, Lord, did I save it by accident? I don't want that one on my head. I'm gonna go with an unequipped look. So you can see my ponytail. Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, and keep watching.